Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to the Black Financial Channel, or wherever you're watching from. I want to say hello and good morning. I'm on the Instagram page for the Black Financial Channel, so make sure you follow the Black Financial Channel on Instagram. And once again, I always like to start my conversations by letting you guys know if it seems like I'm talking a little bit weird, a little bit funny, it's because I got some dental work done, and they're literally reshaping the bone in my mouth. So it makes me talk a little bit weird and sound a little bit weird, like a teenager with a retainer in his mouth. But just know I'm a black man who's trying to be healthy, and I want to encourage everybody to think about your dental health, because your dental health affects, everything from blood pressure to your heart and everything else. And it's something that you got to look into and take care of. Don't be silly like me. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I see you guys out there on Instagram. I want to tell you guys a quick little story. It was on my mind this morning, so I thought that I would share this with you guys because we're all, all of us here are wealth builders. The reason that you watch me is because you want to be a little bit smarter than the average bear. You want to excel. You want to succeed. You believe in black excellence. You believe in black family. You believe that black people come first. Hashtag B1 in the chat. Put a hashtag B1 in the chat if you agree. So you guys, I think, are going to get this when I share the story. A lot of people miss this. This went over a lot of people's heads. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share this with you, and then I'm going to kind of put it into a quicker context to help you understand how serious it was. I was watching Saturday Night Live one week. It was maybe a couple years ago. And they had this segment they do called Black Jeopardy. And now, just, to be clear, I can watch SNL and laugh at the best of them. Even the stuff that's a little bit offensive, usually I can just kind of laugh it off. It's real interesting. Even when I look back on the Eddie Murphy stuff that I watched when I was a little kid that I thought was hilarious, I didn't realize until I got older that a lot of his career was built on, perpetuating stereotypes of black people. Mr. Rogers, he's the black man who's gonna rob you. You had some other was Buckwheat or Tay. I don't remember Tay, right? Just the minstrel show kind of thing. But it's no disrespect to Eddie, but it is what it is, right? You got to understand media and how media shapes our minds. Media, it's called television programming for a reason, right? Programming, because you really are being programmed. But anyway, on this particular episode, it was called Black Jeopardy, and on this Black Jeopardy episode, what they would do, if you watch the show Jeopardy, what they do is they make a statement and then you respond with a question. So if they say, this is the capital of Minnesota, and somebody will say, what is Minneapolis? I don't even know what the capital of Minnesota is. That's how bad I was in school. But that's what you do. You answer the statement with a question that fills in the blank, right? So here's one thing that they did on this Black Jeopardy thing. Leslie Jones was on this, and so they said, your boss wants to take $50 a week out of your bank account or out of your paycheck to put into your 401k. And then Leslie answers, she goes, you better give me my $50 so I can buy me some scratch offs, right? And everybody laughed. Everybody thought it was hilarious. So basically what she was saying is, don't put money in my 401k. Give me that money so I can go buy me some scratch offs, because that's what I'm going to do with my money, because I'm black. Right? This was Black Jeopardy. This is what black people do in their minds, right? When they're doing this show, they're answering it the way black people would. They'd ask questions about Kool-Aid or putting a perm in your hair or whatever, right? So this Black Jeopardy joke that was so hilarious about how, you better not take money out of my out of my check to put in my 401k. You better not invest for me. You better give me this money so I can go waste it on some scratch offs, right? Next swing and everything, right? That's a very serious joke. I'm not a guy. I like to laugh at the best of them. If you go to drboycetv.com, you'll see every week or a couple times a week, I'll do, skits that are just, where I'm just kind of letting out the funny side of myself. I can laugh at a lot of stuff, but this, and you can even laugh at the joke if you want to, right? But beneath the joke, there's an element of seriousness that is extremely, extremely relevant to the condition of Black people in America today, tomorrow, and yesterday. If anybody has seen this, I don't know if you guys have seen this study. Give me a yes or no in the chat if you've seen this. There's that study that says that Black wealth is expected to drop to zero by the year 2053. Has anybody seen that study? Let's make sure we're on the same page. Who's seen the study? Give me a yes or no. So the study says Black wealth is expected to drop to zero by the year 2053. The racial wealth gap is not closing like it's supposed to, right? If integration and all the stuff was really working, the wealth gap will be closing, and we'd be closing right in on white people about now, right? We've been at it for about 50 years. You would expect that gap to shrink. And actually, the gap is not shrinking. The gap is actually widening. The gap is actually widening where white wealth is going up, Black wealth is going down. The wealth of the rich is going way up. The wealth of middle class and poor people is kind of going down or staying flat. As a financial scientist, as a guy with a PhD in this stuff, I understand this extremely well. I've studied this because all I think about is, stuff that matters for Black people. It don't matter to Black people. It don't really matter much to me. And I studied this gap, and it's very easy to understand if you understand economic mechanics and financial dynamics. And basically, the financial dynamic is that the reason that rich people's wealth is taken off and leaving everyone else behind is because wealthy people, even before they're wealthy, even when they were used to be broke, they were more likely to be stock market investors, right? So they were more likely to put money in their 401k. They were more likely to put money into the IRA. They were more likely to add to their stock portfolio, right? So if you give me two people, both of whom came from the hood, both of whom work, let's say they get jobs at Ford, and one person is an avid investor, like one person's hobby is buying stocks, right? And the other person's hobby is, going to the club or buying Gucci or buying Jordans. And they got a big old Jordan collection because anybody know anybody like that? Brother that's 40 years old, got a big old sneaker collection. No disrespect to those who buy sneakers. I know that there's a market for sneakers and all that. But really, like we all choose what we're going to do with our money. Well, if you give me those two guys and one guy is an avid investor, dumping a bunch of money in the market to own assets. And the other guy is spending money, looking fly, or whatever. Because I wasn't the fly guy. I had friends that were fly. They would make fun of my clothes. They would make fun of my car, all this other stuff, right? Then the guy who's the investor, if you go out 10, 20 years later, the guy who's the investor is going to have a whole lot more wealth than the person who did not invest. The guy who didn't invest is going to get left behind. The guy who invested is going to see his wealth kind of grow. His wealth is going to grow with the wealth of America. His financial success is going to be tethered, almost like a wire connected to the fate of rich people. His fate is going to go in the direction of the fate of rich people. The other guy's fate is going to go in the direction of the fate of the working class. Working class and poor people don't really win in America. Working for money is a really hard way to get rich. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible to paycheck your way to wealth. It's almost impossible to do. Most wealthy people have invested in something. Typically, it's stocks and then some real estate. Sometimes it's just real estate. Sometimes it's just stocks. But really, when Alicia and I invest, we invest in stocks, real estate, and small business. Those are kind of the three main ways that people get rich in America. So I want you to kind of think about this story, right, in this thing on Saturday Night Live. And I want you to understand that this joke really bothered me as a financial scholar, the same way a joke about eating Popeye's chicken might bother a heart surgeon. A heart surgeon will be like, oh my God, do you know what this chicken does to your arteries? Do you know the instances of diabetes and heart disease and strokes and heart attacks, how high that goes up if you're eating Popeye's chicken every day, right? So as a financial surgeon, I'm looking at this and saying, do you understand what this is doing to Black wealth? Do you understand that wealth building is largely a cultural phenomenon? Wealth building is cultural. It's not just academic. It's not just what you learned in school. It is cultural. It is cultural. Just like hip hop is a culture. If you grow up in a family full of rappers, you're going to be a good rapper too. If you grow up in a family full of gospel singers, anybody have seen those families where everybody in the family is a gospel singer? That's because gospel singing is part of their culture. Going to church can be part of your culture. Being a Crip or a Blood can be part of your culture. So what you got to ask yourself is, what is my culture? What is my culture? And is my culture one that's going to lead to prosperity? What is Black culture? What does Black culture look like? Nobody can really define what it means to be black, because there's a lot of things that, you know, Joe Biden says being black means being a Democrat. Donald Trump says being black means you're going to be a Republican. You know, a wealthy guy says being black means building wealth. Another person might say being black means knowing how to twerk, right? What does being black mean to you? You have to figure that out and then align your culture in your household with that which is going to give the prosperity and the positivity that you're seeking for your children, right? It's culture, because culture shapes values. Culture shapes your decision making. Like if I get a dollar, what am I going to do with that dollar? Well, what I do with that dollar is going to be heavily influenced by my culture. If I come from a culture that's make it rain and spend it, it burns a hole in your pocket, then I'm going to go and buy me some, nice stuff. I'm going to get me some fly clothes, some shoes, some Gucci, whatever, right? I'm gonna give me a couple chains so I can look real fly or whatever. Or maybe if I'm in Detroit, the car culture is really strong. I dated a girl from Detroit one time. She dumped me on the first date. Because I was such a freaking lame. And I'm driving this raggedy ass 1987 Pontiac. I forgot what that car was. And we went on a date. I got my little raggedy hoopty. I'm kind of proud of it though, because I had just got my hoopty fixed. And we're driving, and I thought we had a nice little date, nice little conversation. And she says, didn't you get that presidential scholarship? And I'm like, yeah, it was pretty good. They gave me a lot of money for that. I was really happy about that. And she said, if you got all that money, why don't you get a nicer car? And oh my God, that hurt my feelings so bad. It made me feel so lame, right? But the thing is that is because, culture, right? My culture was one that says, it doesn't matter what kind of car you drive, as long as you think about where you're going. Where you're going matters more than how fly you're looking when you're trying to get there, right? If you're driving on the path to nowhere and you're driving in a Bentley, then you're driving your Bentley straight to hell. Whereas if you're driving a hoopty and you're going somewhere good, then that's what matters more, right? That was my culture. I didn't grow up in a culture. Like if I came home looking super fly with designer this and Gucci that, my family would laugh at me. Literally, my father would be like, what is that shit? My mother would be like, you paid how much for that? And but then that was the culture of our household. Her culture was, in Detroit, everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people love their cars. Detroit's a car city, right? So she was like, she grew up in a culture where the guys you picked were the guys who had the nice vehicle, right? This is not to define all people from Detroit at all. I know a lot of great people from Detroit, but this is really what, what's really happening in that dynamic. So figure out what your culture is and go back to that Leslie Jones joke I told you about on SNL. And I'll need you to understand the connection between that seemingly harmless joke and what is happening all around you. Black people are losing wealth and not building wealth because Black people don't, on average, many of us, millions of us, don't even invest. Or when we do invest, we invest like Tinkerbells. We'll throw in $10. We'll be like, I bought $10 worth of stock. And I'm not here to tell people like what to do, but I'm kind of like, you bought $10 worth of stock. Well, if you were going on a vacation, or if you were going out to the club or going to the mall, would you spend $10 at the club? Like, or if you were out at dinner, like, would you spend $10 at dinner? Or maybe you can at least go as hard when it comes to investing in your future as you would if you were shopping at the mall on Black Friday. Right? How hard do people go? Has anybody ever seen like with Black Friday and all that, when the chaos happens, when they got people lined up outside the door and down the street, like overnight trying to get in so they can buy the $200 TV or whatever, right? Well, like I think that a good culture might be one where you say, we're going to go, if you want to go hard on Black Friday, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, when you get money, when you finally get some money or you get more, you'll be able to buy whatever you want. Like that's really fun. I'm not going to say that it's bad to go buy stuff that you want and enjoy your money. But you got to get some money in order to enjoy it. A lot of people start enjoying their money before they have any money. And when they get a little bit of money, they don't build the money, they take the money and they enjoy the money before they actually have had a chance to grow the money. You see, your money's supposed to grow, and then you enjoy the fruits of your labor. You plant the seeds so you can enjoy the harvest, right? Some people want to enjoy the harvest and they ain't even planted no seeds. And then they wonder why they don't have a harvest. You ever see that where there are people who literally just don't understand why they're broke. They don't understand why they have nothing. But you look at their life and all you gotta do is just go back in time and say, okay, what seeds have you planted? You have no harvest, but did you plant any seeds? Did somebody plant seeds for you? Or did your parents plant seeds for you? A lot of parents don't plant seeds for their children, then their children have no harvest. So the question becomes, how can you expect a harvest when you planted no seeds? How can you expect a harvest when there's nothing about seed planting that's in your culture. So one of the things, if you want to know how I think all the time about money and wealth and all that, my job is to plant seeds. I plant as many seeds as I can. And the reason I plant seeds is because you don't know what those seeds are going to grow into. You don't know what the possibilities are. Most people that create these billion-dollar companies, if you go back and you read the history, they started these companies were nothing when they started them. Like, they were tiny little, crappy little businesses, and they never would have guessed that those businesses were going to grow into anything great. Only God knows what your destiny is. Only God knows what that seed is going to grow into. So my belief is I plant the seeds and I let God do the growing, right? My job is to just plant the seed. My job is not to decide if a seed deserves to live or die based on whether I think it's going to grow. I don't have the power of God. I don't have the ability to say, oh, that seed is going to grow into a sycamore tree, but that seed ain't going to grow into nothing, so we might as well not even plant that seed. No, my job is to plant the seed and let God do all the growing. So if you want to know if I'm a man of faith, I'm a man of faith in the sense that I believe the universe is smarter than me. I believe my destiny is smarter than me. I believe that God, Yahweh, the universe has something in store for me that's bigger than anything I can even imagine. So my job is to put my nose to the table, do my best, plant as many seeds as possible, and then let the universe do what it's going to do. Okay, so plant your seeds and let God do the growing. Don't worry about whether or not you think it's going to work out or whatever. But do what you know you're supposed to do. Investors plant seeds. Plant seeds. Don't do what they were talking about on SNL. Those stereotypes are what is destroying Black wealth. That's why Black wealth is going backward, and that's why the wealth gap is getting wider, and why Black people are declining economically. That's exactly why. It's all linked. A lot of it is very much linked to culture. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. Also, just a reminder to you guys, on Monday night at 8 o'clock on the Black Financial Channel, we have a new show called Life's a Pitch, and I host it with Lene Javette. And basically what we do is we invite black business owners to present a 90-second pitch of their business. And we did it last week. It was really, really great. A lot of people loved it. And people submit their pitches in advance. And so get on our email list so that I can let you know, A, when we're going to do another show, and then B, when we're doing a shout out for businesses that we want to bring on the show. It's worked really, really well. And what the goal is to let these businesses pitch and show everybody what they got going on. And then also we ask the audience to get involved by telling us which business is the best. So they vote on the winner. But then number two, we tell them to do a wealth mob. We ask people to do a wealth mob on Black businesses. A wealth mob is not just a cash mob. Cash can be part of it if you want. Like, you can go buy something if you think the business is good. But let's just be real. Some Black businesses ain't ready. Some Black businesses ain't that good. So sometimes you may want to give them wealth through knowledge and feedback. So you might go in the chat, give them feedback and say, hey, you need to work on this or work on that, or this doesn't appeal to me or whatever. Or you can go to their website and tell them how they can do better, right? So everything's completely positive. It's really, really awesome. I think you're going to like it. So make sure you get on our email list, and I'll email you guys when we're going to do it. We're going to do it Monday night at 8 o'clock on the Black Financial Channel. It's theblackfinancialchannel.com. Some of you guys are watching on the Black Financial Channel Instagram page. Make sure you subscribe to the Black Financial Channel YouTube channel so you get a notification when we go live. It's going to be 8 o'clock on Mondays. Every Monday, we're going to feature Black businesses and showcase them and let you guys vote on who's the best. How do you get on the email list? You can get on the email list and get a free e-copy of my book. Go to allblackeconomics.com. That's allblackeconomics.com. And also, somebody asked what is going to be taught in the Powernomics Masterclass. Dr. Claude Anderson and I are going to do 8 weeks where we're going to go through in detail the Powernomics book. And you'll know everything there is to know about Powernomics. You get a certification once you're done and watched all the videos. And also, I'm going to do office hours once a week where we're going to talk about Powernomics principles. So if you'd like to join the Powernomics Masterclass, we start on the 15th. That's when enrollment is going to close. So if you'd like to join us, go to powernomicsmasterclass.com. That's powernomicsmasterclass.com. If you're watching the podcast, you can get 30% off by using the code word podcast. So powernomicsmasterclass.com, code word podcast. So anyway, guys, have a good day. I'll see you soon. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Be good. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.